Today, I'm starting a brand new hardcore world with the goal of building the perfect starter base that has everything I need to survive. But after losing my last world to a dumb mistake, I'm not taking any chances this time. And this is it, our brand new survival world, and I am already freezing to death. And to make things even worse, I don't see any animals for food anywhere. But on the positive side, we do have plenty of my favorite wood types. Let's grab this spruce, which we can then use to turn into a crafting table and craft ourselves a wooden pickaxe, because I do see some stone over here. So let's grab a bunch of that and immediately craft ourselves some stone upgrades. And already the sun is getting lower than I would like it to, which means we're running out of time to find a sheep to craft a bed from, and I still need to find some food. So I began exploring the area, but after almost freezing in more powdered snow on the mountainside, I decided to just stick to walking along the frozen lakes instead. Oh! It's a pig. Oh, we've got a bunch of them. Alright, sorry fellas, but I've got to eat. And I've just spotted some sweet berry bushes down there too. And honestly, at this point, every little does help. Oh, and hello, there's some coal over here. So let's go ahead and grab all of this. Then we can craft a furnace and get those raw pork chops cooking. But while waiting for my food to come out of the oven, the sun was beginning to go down. And with no bed, there was no way to skip the night. Alright, this is officially an emergency situation. So let's go ahead and craft some torches. And it looks like our pork chops are ready. So at least we've got a full stomach. But if we're to stay alive, we're going to have to keep moving. Oh, this is such a bad start. Now, I don't actually know if hostile mobs spawn on ice, so maybe we can stay safe on this stuff. Oh, let's stay clear of the polar bears. We don't want to get mauled. There is a lot of water around here, though, so let's go ahead and craft a spruce boat. Then at least we can sail to a safer shoreline. Oh, and hello, we have our first iron ores. Looks like we're only getting 2, so we can't make a pickaxe with it yet. But I will grab this copper as well. Uh-oh, we've got company. Come on, stay back. Okay, nice, we got him. Oh, there's some more iron ore here too. Perfect. And despite still not having a bed, it looks like the sun is finally rising. So now that I had some better visibility, I climbed up this small hillside to get a nice vantage point of the area. Oh, come on, the ice is just never ending. We spawned all the way on the other side of that mountain too, so we've already come quite a long way. And I'm even having to try my hardest not to sprint so we don't use any hunger up. Oh, we did find some chickens. That's more food, but still not a single sheep. Oh, but we have found some more sweet berry bushes and even more iron, which is perfect. And since I'm starting to worry that we'll need to survive another night outside, I'm going to get all of this iron smelted up, and with that iron I'm going to go ahead and craft myself a shield. Okay, I'm feeling safer already. And since our stone pickaxe is basically broken, I think I'll treat myself to a nice new shiny iron pick. But it is time to get moving again. I have spotted some sugarcane in the distance, so let's grab that because it's going to be super handy for enchantments later. And it looks like day 2 is coming to an end again, and we still haven't found any sheep. But we have no choice, and we're going to just have to keep on moving. So I hit the open seas and searched for some warmer climates. And it wasn't long before I discovered a shipwreck and hit the absolute jackpot with a bunch of iron buried in a chest. But after a lackluster second chest, it was then back to sailing until finally I sighted an oak forest in the distance. Oh, and look! We've got sheep waiting for us already at the shoreline. Alright, well I suppose first things first. And at long last we can finally craft ourselves a bed. And if we just go over here and grab this rose bush, we can turn that into red dye and make ourselves a classic red bed. Thank goodness that's over with. But now that we finally have a bed, let's just climb up these trees and get a nice vantage point of the area. And what a beautiful area we found ourselves in. We have these stunning rivers cutting through the forest, dividing areas which I'd love to bridge across and connect one day. But for now, let's just pick a random place to settle down for this episode, and let's go ahead and mark our territory with a nice dirt hut. And I think on the inside, we'll just get our crafting table placed down, as well as a furnace. I'll also go ahead and craft a double chest, get it placed on the back wall, and finally, let's just craft ourselves a spruce door, as well as some spruce fences that we can use for windows. And of course, it's not much, but it is going to keep us safe, and in hardcore Minecraft, I suppose that's all that really matters. But of course, if we're going to survive out here, we're going to need to start some farms. So to start off, let's craft an iron axe to make some space behind the dirt shack for a nice cow pen, which will eventually be our main food supply. And there we go, that should do. But to transport some cows into the pen, we'll need to collect seeds and grow wheat to make them follow us. It's going to be a whole thing with a bunch of different steps. So let's just kick it into a montage. And with the cows finally in their enclosure, I also planted my sugarcane along the riverside to make sure that will be set for enchantments later on. And altogether, that has given us a nice little area full of starter farms to help us survive. And I would definitely like to start breeding the cows as soon as possible, so let's harvest some of this wheat, and then straight away we can just get these fed up. But since our food supply is going to take a little while to grow, I'm just going to run around the forest and pretty much just grab food from anywhere we can find it. Then I can just go ahead and craft myself a smoker and get all of our food cooking up. Because next up, I want to go caving to find as many useful resources as possible so we can start building up our base. So let's just go ahead and craft ourselves an iron sword, and to give myself a little bit extra protection, an iron chest plate. And now that I have some armor, let's go find a cave entrance. And to do that, I am just going to walk around this forest until we find a hole that leads underground. And hello, what is this? This is looking quite promising. Let's just get a torch out so we can see what we're doing. And I do see some iron down there, but we're going to have to get rid of these guys first. Let's just make sure we do things nice and slow. Alright, there we go. So let's drop down here, and now we can safely grab this iron. And that already gives us 28 pieces of raw iron. So let's just safely box ourselves in here, craft a furnace, get all of the iron chucked in, which then gives us enough ingots to complete our armor set. And just like that, I am looking ready to take on some bigger caves. And oh baby, I think this could be the opening that I'm looking for. Oh, this feels so dangerous already. Well, I guess there's no turning back now. We're just going to have to roll with it. Oh, but there are ores littered everywhere here. And we found our first lapis too. That is going to be essential for enchanting later on. Alright, so far so good. Oh, there's diamonds down there. I literally feel like nothing can go wrong right now.
A few moments later.
Uh-oh, we've been cornered. I really need these guys to fight each other. Okay, they're near the edge. Go, go, go. Whew, that was pretty scary, I'm not gonna lie. We're still alive though, so let's see if we can get down to those diamonds now. Alright, nice. 3 diamonds, that's already a pickaxe for us. But no point stopping there, let's see if we can find some more. Yes, we got some. Just gotta deal with these bozos. Alright, spider down, skeleton next. Let's yoink these. Yes, we got a 6 vein. These caves are treating us so nicely. Let's make sure we grab everything else though, like the lapis. I definitely want to take all this redstone too. And of course we can't forget about the gold. Oh, he's got a spear. I didn't know they could do that. Ah! Oh my god, that hits so hard. I'm stuck. I'm panicking. Alright, up the water. Please no creepers, please no creepers. Oh, we're good, we're good. That was absolutely terrifying. But after changing my underpants, I dug a little safe space in the side of a wall, where I took a breather to craft myself a diamond pickaxe, then finally set out into the caves one last time to fill my inventory up. And you know what? I think I am going to call it there, because our inventory is absolutely jam-packed full of goodies. Alright, let's get home. Oh, finally fresh air. Oh, that feels so good after being in the caves. Although this is such a classic way to end a cave adventure, by popping out of the ground in the middle of nowhere completely lost. Anyway, now that we're home, let's just get everything chucked into the furnace. And just a little bit later, this is what we are left with. So I think I would consider that trip to the caves a success. But first things first, let's put these diamonds to good use and craft ourselves a full set of armor. And sorry, iron armor, you have served us well, but it's time to go. And oh yes, that is so much better. Anyway, let's just grab our iron hoe, because it looks like the wheat farm's growing in nicely. So let's also extend the farmland and get our wheat seeds replanted. We can also feed the cows for our new wheat, as well as harvest all of this sugarcane. Oh, and hello, we've got some dogs nearby. Let's just head back to our dirt hut, grab our bones from the chest, and hopefully we can befriend this guy. Oh, nice, that was easy. Oh, he must be keen. What a good boy. And if you'd like to name this dog, drop your ideas in the comments and I'll pick the best one next episode. But for now, you can come with me, buddy. Be nice to have some extra protection, because next up, I would finally like to move out of this dirt shack and build myself a proper starter house. But I really want to use pale oak and dark oak, so it's time to set out on another adventure. Come on, dog. Let's go this way. hello, I have just spotted a pale oak garden on top of these hills. Come on, dog, not much further to go. Alright, here we go. We are at the base of this thing now. So let's just use our tree chopping mod here to speed things up a little bit. There we go. We can also grab all of these saplings so we can grow them back at the base. And it looks like we do have a dark oak forest attached to the pale garden. So again, let's just get some dark oak chopped down, collect the saplings, and with a nice amount of both wood types collected, let's get back home. And now that we are back home, let's just clear some space out at the back end of the river here, which we can use to plant our saplings and make a nice little tree farm. And while I waited for those trees to grow, I made my way back underground to grab some more resources for my house. Then I dropped some of the new trees down, crafted a few final items for decoration, and with all the blocks prepared, it was time to get building. So starting off, I used tough blocks to build a foundation and a mix of pale oak and diorite for some contrast on the upper floor. I then used a combination of dark oak and deep slate for the roof, and also added a chimney and staircase to the house to make the shape more interesting. And I had a lot of room to work with on the inside, so I started off by dividing the ground floor into two separate rooms with oak trapdoors. And in the first room I added some windows using copper grates and added oak planks into the floor. Then it was just a case of making some cozy details like this fireplace, some nice little decorations with pots and flowers, and the first room was all complete. Moving on to the second room, I went with a variation of deep slate blocks for the floor and added a super simple staircase leading upstairs with some storage decorations underneath and trapdoors for some extra detail. Then I added this weird wardrobe kind of thing on the opposite side of the room and again used copper grates for a window. And after adding some carpet, this room was nearly done, but I wanted to leave this wall empty for a storage room later. And finally, moving on to the upstairs, I cleaned up the ceiling using stripped logs, built myself a red triple king size deluxe bed to sleep in, as well as a nice study area by the windows using a lectern, pots, and a spruce stair. Then I added some more red carpet, another wardrobe looking thing, and that was the final room all complete. But I would like to come back down to this section here in the middle of the house because I want to dig through this wall and make a nice staircase down into a storage room. And there we go. I think we are far enough underground, so let's just go ahead and decorate with some deep slate stairs. Then I'm just going to grab some tough blocks out of the chest, which we can use to decorate the walls with. And so far I think I am quite happy with this staircase now, so let's go ahead and dig out a nice big space for the storage room. And I know this seems a little bit big right now, but trust me, once we get the walls in, the floor and the ceiling, it's going to look a lot more sensible. So let's just craft up some deep slate variations. That way we can continue our deep slate pattern through the middle of the room here. And then for a nice trim, let's just strip some spruce logs. And okay, looking good so far, but to fill in the rest of these gaps, let's just grab some oak wood and fill in the rest of the floor with planks. And once the chests are in, we won't really see these back walls, but instead of leaving them stone, let's just get them filled in with spruce planks. And for the ceiling, let's just go with some stripped logs, some spruce slabs, and spruce trapdoors. And I am absolutely loving the look of this place so far. I think all of the different blocks just complement each other so well. But next up, I'm going to craft some barrels so I can start marking out some sections for the chest compartments, which will just get connected up with some stripped spruce beams, and finally fill in all of these gaps with chests. And there we go. This is already starting to look amazing with all of the chests in place, but I would like to add a few more details, like some nice archways, spruce signs, and the occasional spruce shelf. And oh boy, this place is looking absolutely brilliant. It is so cozy, I love it. But we are still not finished, because I wanted to dig a big hole in the wall ready for a super smelter, which even though is quite small, should definitely be enough for one person. Then I just patched the wall up again and added an easy collection system in the bottom. And this thing is honestly so good. Now I do have two signs here, one that says blocks on top and the other says fuel on the bottom, and that's just to remind me that the fuel goes in here, and if we open the top chest we can add some items to smelt, and then all we gotta do is flip this switch, and then if we just look in the bottom chest here, oh yes, that came out almost immediately as well. That is so cool. But then all we do is turn the switch off and the minecarts just wait for us ready to use it again. So yeah, very happy with that. And one more thing, I did actually change these spruce struts here for some dark oak. I feel like it just breaks the room up nicely. There was a little bit too much spruce for my liking, but now that we have a fully functional storage room, it's time to start the very painful task of moving all of our items down there. Oh, this bit always takes so long. But after spending the next half hour or so transferring all of our items underground, everything was finally organized, which meant I could tidy upstairs by removing all of the extra chests on the ground. And after that, I finished the final detail left on the house, which was adding decoration to the overhang. And with the final stage of the house complete, it was time to say goodbye to our trusty dirt hut. But the current issue that I'm faced with is that that I feel like we have kind of outgrown our little farming area, so it seems like the right time to build something a bit more suitable outside the house. And to start, I began by clearing out a bunch of trees in the area to clear a nice amount of space up, and then mined a whole bunch of dirt to bring back to my base to flatten out all of the land ready for farms. And this place is feeling almost unrecognizable now. It's kind of crazy how much difference that's made. And typically I'm not really a fan of just super flat land, but I feel like with farmland it does only make sense. But anyway, now I actually need to mark out some areas for the crops. So let's just grab some of this andesite because we don't have any in our storage room yet, and I would just like to turn it into polished andesite for what I've got planned. So all I'm going to do is make some nice cutouts in the dirt, and then I can just fill those spaces in with the polished andesite. Then let's just get some spruce fences along the top. Oh yes, that's looking good. And to finish off, I'm just going to craft some shears, grab a whole bunch of leaves, and just run them around the edge of the fences. And then I think for one final detail, we'll just take our shovel and lay out a nice path. And there we go. That has made such a nice difference with the path in now. But now seems like a good time to start getting these crop fields populated. So let's just grab all of these wheat seeds and then fertilize the land with this sneaky little water trick where we can just place some upside down stairs and waterlog it. Then that allows us to hydrate all of the soil and get all of our wheat seeds planted. And I would like to split crop areas into two different sections. So for example, we can have wheat on one side and we can have potatoes on the other. But of course the problem I have right now is that we only have wheat seeds, which means I'm going to have to hunt down a village to try and find a bunch of different crops, which also means it's time to craft a saddle and go tame a horse. And I'm fairly sure that when I was collecting cows earlier, I spotted some horses along these fields. Oh, actually, yep, there they are over there. And let's see, which one should we go with? I think I quite like the look of this guy here. It kind of looks like he's wearing socks. So let's just hop on his back and get him tamed. Then we can chuck a saddle on, and I'm hoping he's a fast one. Oh, okay, yeah, this seems pretty quick. I don't have a name for you yet. So again, just like the dog, if you have any suggestions, feel free to drop one in the comments. But for now, we'll just call you Horse. And I do hope you're ready for an adventure, because we've got a village to find. And while searching for a village, we did make a few pit stops to gather different tree saplings, as well as cactus from a desert and melons from a jungle. But it wasn't much longer before we found exactly what we were looking for. Come on, crop fields, what do you got for me? Okay, they're wheat seeds, don't need them. Wheat seeds. Oh, carrots, nice. Oh, beetroot. Lovely. So I think the only other crop we can get from villages are potato seeds. Oh, but it doesn't look like there's any extra here. Oh, wait. I just picked one up. Nice. Potato. Oh, never mind. There's actually loads over here. I just didn't know what they looked like. Alright, so that gives us 8 potatoes. We got 2 beetroot seeds, 29 carrots, as well as the cactus and the melon. So to finish off, let's just ransack all of their hay bales to feed the cows back home. And now this village has absolutely no way to survive. Let's get back home. And before we sort out the crops, I'm just going to come down to the riverside here and plant all of our new saplings that we picked up, because you can never have too much wood in Minecraft. And for the crops, let's just turn the second half of this area into farmland. Then we can just go ahead and plant the carrots on this one. And then I think on the opposite farm here, we'll get all of this tilled. Then we can have one side dedicated to beetroot and the other side dedicated to potato. And I think I'm going to actually put the cactus in the bottom left here. So let's just go ahead and break some holes in the ground that we can put the sand on. And I am just making sure these are nice and spaced out. And of course, that's because cactus can't actually touch anything, otherwise they'll break. And okay, that's looking good. So let's just go ahead and place these down. And there we go, nice and simple. We officially have a cactus farm, which for now only leaves us with the melons. So let's just craft these all into seeds. And I do want to leave some space for pumpkins on the same patch later on. So what we're going to have to do is plant all of the seeds first, and then I'll just add a temporary row of dirt along the left-hand side. Then that'll mean that once the melons grow, the stems will come to the right. And then later on, once we found some pumpkins, we can chuck them in here too. But alright, for now that is all of the crops taken care of. So we were finally seeing some good progress on the farmland, but our poor cows were still crammed into their original enclosure, and it was starting to look a little bit tight. So next up, I'm going to build them a nice big barn, but to get all the blocks, we'll have to brave the nether. And that's because I would like to build one of those big classic red barns. And one red block I would like to use is netherrack. So let's head over to this nearby lava pool, turn all of the lava into obsidian, where we can very slowly mine all we need. Then I made my way back to the base and built myself a nice straightforward nether portal. And honestly, I kind of really like this one. I don't know what it is, but it just feels kind of nostalgic when all the obsidian's left exposed. But I am currently quite low on food, so before we hop inside, I'm just going to remove a few of these cows, then get that raw beef into the super smelter, and there we go, that should be enough. And you know what, let's also grab some diamonds, because I think it's about time that we craft a diamond sword. Alright, I'm all set to go. Let's do this. Oh, please be a good spawn, please be a good spawn. Soul Sand Valley. Ooh, not really what I wanted, I'll be honest. I was kind of hoping for a nether waste. I suppose it could have been worse though, at least it's not a basalt delta. And at least we got some bone blocks at spawn too. I'll take these for the farms back at home. So I suppose we're off to quite a nice start there. Oh, but hold on a second. I almost completely missed this netherrack right by the portal. And I really do not see the point in going any further than we have to for this stuff. So let's just grab what we need. Oh, nice, we found some quartz as well. That's going to come in super handy. And okay, we have just over 2 stacks, which I think should be enough. Now, I am definitely going to have to come back in here later for some nether specific crops. But for now, I think we should probably just head home. Oh, there's a dried gas down there. Alright, we'll make one quick detour to pick that guy up. Now, I believe I can do this without Silk Touch. We can. Nice. Okay, let's just grab these extra bone blocks as well. Alright, and that was a nice little short and sweet introduction to the nether. But before we do anything else, let's just get this little guy placed in some water. And all that's left to do now to build this barn is to grab some mangrove logs, as well as a few other blocks. And with everything all ready to go, it's time to build the barn. I started off by clearing some trees and extending the grass to be level with our house. Then I used stripped pale oak logs to outline the structure and create a roof trim, which I filled in with deep slate variants. I also added a silo made out of granite, brick and dirt variants, and then finally filled in the walls of the barn with mangrove planks and netherrack. And since the interior wasn't too complicated, I'm gonna stop talking so you can enjoy the montage. And let's take a look inside of this thing now that it's all finished up. I mean, first of all, I've got to say, I love how the textures look in here. Especially on the floor, we've got such a nice mix of blocks. And of course, in the upstairs, we've just got item overflow if you ever want to chuck anything up here. And one more thing, I did decorate the sides here with some big flower beds. I think the shelf blocks are actually perfect for this. I got some nice curves on the corners there too with the pale oak. And I just did a nice and similar thing around the back here too. But of course, we still need to move all of the cows in. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention our gas has fully grown now. I've just tied him to a post until we get a saddle ready. And I tell you what, before we move them, let's just trim the numbers down a little bit, because that has given us 39 pieces of leather, which combined with what we've got at home should be enough for an enchanting setup. And okay, let's get these guys into the barn. And I think they should all fit into here. There we go. Oh, and let's just make sure that the path connects to the barn now too. And okay, barn complete. But while we were building the barn, we have actually made some great progress on our crop fields. I mean, for one, our carrots are fully grown now. Our wheat seeds have also come along nicely, and we are seeing a good bit of action on the potatoes as well as the beetroot. So let's just get all of these replanted, and there we go, just like that, the potato field is already full. We're also making great progress on our cactus, so let's just get all of these harvested. And I did forget we would have cactus flower growing on top of these too, so that is a nice little bonus. And then finally, it looks like all of our melons are fully growing in, so let's just remove all of these dirt blocks, because next up I do really want to get some pumpkins planted on here too. And I think I spotted some on the other side of this forest earlier. So let's just yoink a bunch of these, turn them into seeds, and then we can just plant those next to the melons. Okay, so I've just planted 3 rows of pumpkins there, but I have just realized that this farm is kind of the wrong dimension to grow another patch here. So I think on this occasion we'll just plant some pumpkins along the edge here like this, and even though it won't have a cool stem growing out of it like these do here, I think this should be fine. And since we only have one more section to fill in on this side of the farm, I think it would be a perfect spot for some sugarcane. So let's just get some holes dug out, which we can then fill up with water. Oh, and it looks like it started raining again, and I've got to be honest, I kind of love it. It feels so cozy. Anyway, let's just get this water covered up with some oak slabs and place down all of our sugarcane. And that is all 4 sections of this side of the farms complete. But on the other side, we still have 3 completely empty sections. And I think next up I would like to get this one filled in here, because I am thinking of keeping things quite simple and just going with some tall flowers. But to be honest, I don't think I actually have any tall flowers, so let's see if we can find some in the local forest, because all I'm looking for are lilacs and rose bushes, which do typically tend to be everywhere, so we shouldn't be looking for too long. Okay, nice. We got rose bushes. And finally, we have some lilacs. All right, then let's just keep it nice and simple. We'll just do 3 lilacs. We'll do 3 rose bushes. And then we'll just spam them into 2 separate rows. And it does look like we are 9 lilacs short to complete this one. But one of the best things about living on a farm is that we can just simply craft a composter and use all of our spare crops to get as much bone meal as we want. All right, now let's just spam these again. Get them all placed down. And look at that. Another section is all complete. Oh, this place is just starting to look so good. Which now brings us down to these sections here. But this is where things are going to get a little bit scary, because I want to venture deep into the nether to collect a bunch of different nether plants. So I think now would be the perfect time to create an enchanting table to get some more powerful armor. But before then, I needed to build an enchanting room. So I dug a hole directly underneath the house and put together a small and cozy room made up of spruce planks in the walls and tough blocks in the floor. I then added some stripped log details and made a quick trip to a geode so I could put amethyst blocks in the ceiling. After that, I finished up by placing the enchanting setup in the middle of the room and added a few details on top of the bookshelves. And now let's just grab some lapis out of the chest. And while we're in the storage room, I'll also grab a trapdoor. That way we can cover up our little hidey hole. Oh, and I've got to say that is so cool for a little secret hatch. Anyway, let's pop down here. And I do have to say I absolutely love this room. But let's take off our diamond boots and chest plate. And I'm really hoping we get feather falling here. Depth strider. Ooh, that is not what we want. Let's see if there's anything better for the chest plate available. Oh, protection 4. Yoink. We've also got Unbreaking 3 and Thorns 2. I will take that. And then that at least resets the table for the boots, which gives us Unbreaking 3. You know what? Instead of doing that, let's go ahead and craft ourselves a grindstone. Place it down here. And I'm hoping if we just cycle some low-level enchantments, then maybe we can get feather falling. And after rolling so many times, we still don't have anything. So you know what? Let's just go with protection 1. And at least that's better than nothing. But now that I feel a little bit safer, it's time to head back into the nether. Oh, I always hate doing this. Oh, and immediately we have a gas spawn on us. I don't think he sees us though, so let's not tempt fate here and just keep moving. Oh, hang on a second. Piglins. I completely forgot to put golden armor on. Alright, not to worry, there's plenty gold lying around. Let's just yoink all of this, turn all those into golden ingots, and craft ourselves some golden trousers. Alright, back to exploring. Oh, nice, we got a warped forest down there. That's exactly one of the biomes we're looking for, so let's get down there. Okay, nice, here we go, warped roots. We do also need some warped fungus. Let's head further in. Oh, nice, here it is. Yes, let's grab as much of this as we can. Oh, and hello. I didn't even know we could find this in this biome, a crimson root. We are going to need a bunch of them too, so that's a nice little bonus. And after finishing up in the warped forest, I made my way to our next stop, which was the crimson forest. But we do have to be a little bit more careful here, because this biome is definitely more dangerous than the last one. The last thing we want to do is to run into those hoglins. But to be honest, we have exactly what we need all over the place here. So let's just yoink what we need and get out before something bad happens. Which only left one more location to visit, which unfortunately for me was a nether fortress to grab nether wart. And I am already getting shot at from Blaze all the way over here. Oh, and there's a bunch of wither skeletons too. Oh, this is so scary. But at least we'll get Blaze. Oh! Oh! Okay, run. Ow. Oh, that's scary. Oh, please don't be behind me. Oh, he's over there. Oh, this feels so stupid. I should have enchanted the sword. Okay, we got him. Alright, let's see if we can find a way in. Alright, we're inside. I feel like we're over the hump. Oh, there's nether wart right here. Oh, perfect. Grab all of this. And I may as well grab these chests. Horse armor, nice. We can take that home with us. But mission accomplished, so let's get home. Oh, it feels so good to be home. I do not want to go back in there for a long time. But first things first, let's get you all dressed up, buddy. Oh, that is such a nice upgrade. Oh, which actually reminds me, let's take these golden leggings off and put our diamonds back on. And then let's pop over to this farming section here, where we can start planting all of the new crops that we just picked up. Although we will have to dig the grass up here and get it all replaced with soul sand. That way we can plant the nether wart, and the rest of the good stuff should just plant straight into the grass. Now I did leave a gap here because I didn't want too much red next to each other, which gives us room for one more type of plant. And I'm kind of feeling like cornflowers might fill the gap in nicely here. So let's just get all of those placed down. And yeah, you know what? I actually don't mind it. But that is another section all complete. And at this point, our farming base base was coming along super nicely, but it didn't feel complete without some bees. And what better place to house them than a greenhouse full of flowers. But to build a greenhouse, I had to grab a few extra resources like some more mangrove wood, and I also took a trip down the local river to grab a bunch of sand to turn into glass. And while the glass was cooking up in the super smelter, I created myself a bunch of bone meal to turn into white dye, to then turn the glass into white stained glass. And with everything finally collected, it was time to get building. And you know the drill by now. I began by chopping down trees to clear space, and then built the frame of the greenhouse out of mangrove logs and used spruce for the roof trim. I then used white stained glass to fill in all of the gaps, and after decorating the front with pale oak, finished up with some flower beds around the building. Then for the interior, I split the room into sections marked by polished granite blocks, and then fertilized the land behind it to create farms on both sides of the greenhouse. I then added a few details with lanterns hanging from chains, and plant pots with composters and leaves. And I do have to say my favourite part are definitely these long flower beds. It's similar to what we done over at the barn, but this is actually my first time ever using the oak variant. And yeah, really nice. But aside from that, I think all the textures work super nicely together. We got some nice colour variation in there too with all the flowers. But on the inside of this thing, it is a little bit empty for now. So I've of course got my wheat farms to either side, but these spruce slabs represent where I want the beehives to go. The only problem of course is that to get beehives, you first need bees. So what I'm going to do is craft myself some leads, and then we're just going to hop on our horse and run around searching the forest for bee nests. And okay, nice, looks like we found one. So first things first, let's get a campfire under here, then we can harvest the honeycomb without making the bees angry, and that means we can craft our own beehive back at home. But now we've got to wait for some bees to leave the nest so we can snag them with a lead. This could take a while. Oh, there we go. Oh, I don't know how we're supposed to get this guy so high up. Oh, another one just popped out. Yoink. Alright, well there's one, but where did that other guy go who was up in the trees? Oh, there he is. Alright, you're coming with me. Alright, gents, this way please. And okay, let's just remove this to make life a little bit easier. Horse, you can stay here. And if you guys want to come inside. Okay, perfect. Then we can just feed these two some flowers. And bada bing, bada bum, we officially have a bee farm. Now let's just craft ourselves a beehive, get a place just above a campfire here, and eventually, as we get more honeycomb, we'll be able to wrap the nests up like this. We'll also place a trapdoor on the top so the smoke doesn't get out. And even though it's a little bit incomplete right now, I think you can see the vision. And that finally brings us on to our last farming space, which I think I would like to fill up with a bunch of different saplings. And let's see, what kind of saplings have we got here? Okay, let's go with birch, dark oak, cherry, spruce, oak, and I do kind of want to go with jungle, but I don't think we actually have any. Let's just place down the saplings that we've got so far and see how it looks. So I do think I would like to do it in this specific order here, which definitely does look nice, and yep, I am sure jungle would just look perfect here in the middle. So let's just pick these back up for now because we don't have any string to stop them from growing yet. But unfortunately, this does mean we're going to have to go all the way back to a jungle. And to me, that seems like the perfect time that we craft ourselves a white harness, get our happy gas buddy here all decked out, and make our way to a jungle. Goodness me, these things are so slow. But on the positive side, I can finally see jungle trees. But okay, buddy, let's just get you tied to this fence post here so you don't fly off. Then I'm just going to pop over here and grab as many jungle saplings as I can. And there we go. That is a grand total of 19. Oh, never mind, 20. Oh, 21 actually. And come to think of it, this place looks like an absolute goldmine for ferns, which is actually one of my favourite decoration blocks. So I would like to grab a bunch of these while we're over here, but I didn't bring any shears with me. It looks like we do have a small cave over here though, so let's just grab this iron real quick, chuck it into a furnace, craft myself some shears, and pick up all of these lovely ferns. Alright, and that gives me nearly 2 stacks. So let's hop back on our happy ghast and get back home. And I've got to say, our farming base is looking so cute from above the trees. I am absolutely loving what we've done here. Anyway, let's just hop off you and tie you back to your little post. Then I'm going to quickly pop down into my storage room because I need to check how much string we've got. Oh, okay, we've got 3 pieces of string. And the reason why string is important is because to prevent these saplings from growing, we're actually going to have to place string on top of them like this. And it is practically invisible, so you can't really notice it either. But as you can probably imagine, 3 bits of string is not going to cover every sapling for this this section, which means I'm going to have to head underground to find an abandoned mine shaft, because those things are absolutely packed with cobwebs, which we can then convert into string. And there it is, just up ahead. I did discover this earlier, but this torch is as far as I went, and oh my word, that is a lot of creepers. Let's be very careful here. We haven't come this far to die in a cave. Okay, I think that is all of them. And we're already running into cobwebs, which is great. All we gotta do is break that with our sword and it'll turn into string. Oh, there's actually loads here. This is perfect. You know what? I think we'll just kick it into a montage. Okay, things are going pretty well, but I've just found an exposed cave spider spawner over there. The only problem is it's kind of surrounded by mobs, so let's just be very careful about this. Get everything lit up. Okay, things look clear. Let's grab all this. Oh my god, there's a creeper in there. You sneaky little devil. And okay, that should do it. And that's now given us well over a stack, so I think that'll do me. Now let's get home. So now we can finally get all of our saplings placed down, and most importantly, place some string on the top. Oh, that is so colourful. I absolutely love it. You know what? That may actually be my favourite little farming area. And speaking of farm areas, we've finally completed every single one of them. So all that's left to do now is to add some final touches to the area. So for one final time this episode, let's kick it into another montage. And I just want to thank our paid Patreon members this month: Marvs, Clove Trash, Matt Screever, Force Mode, and Dylan Hawkey. And once we get a bit further in the world, I'm planning on dedicating an entire build hall for members. But thank you for watching, and if you'd like to download this world, links in the description.